You think narcissists are the most dangerous people in your life? Think again. There's someone quietly observing, quietly learning, and when they reach their limit, they can be far more destructive than any narcissist you've ever known. This isn't about anger or revenge. It's about the quiet power of someone who's been pushed too far. And today, we're going to reveal why a fed-up empath can be more dangerous than the narcissist ever imagined. Before we dive deeper, I want you to think about your own life. Who in your circle is silently strong, silently observing? Hit that like button if you've ever witnessed someone finally reach their breaking point, and trust me, the story that follows will change the way you think about power and patience. Think about this. Empaths are often seen as gentle, sensitive, and even vulnerable. They feel the emotions of others deeply, sometimes to the point where it overwhelms them. But what most people don't see is the hidden strength that comes from carrying that emotional weight for years. Every insult absorbed, every manipulation endured, every subtle betrayal noticed, they take it all in, process it, and quietly grow stronger. While a narcissist blusters, demands, and pushes, the empath silently observes, learning patterns of behavior, understanding motivations, and decoding intentions. This isn't passive weakness, it's a quiet accumulation of power. The empath is like a reservoir, seemingly calm on the surface, but beneath lies a depth of knowledge and insight that the narcissist underestimates. When that empath reaches a point of being fed up, this hidden strength becomes fully visible. It's no longer just endurance, it's strategic awareness. They know how to protect themselves, how to respond effectively, and how to turn emotional insight into action that has real impact. Unlike a narcissist whose strength is performative and often fleeting, the fed-up empath's strength is honed, precise, and informed by years of experience. The danger here isn't aggression, it's mastery. They understand not only what the narcissist does, but why they do it. And that understanding allows the empath to act in ways that feel almost surgical in their effectiveness. So, the first key to understanding why a fed-up empath can be more dangerous than a narcissist lies in recognizing that what looks like sensitivity is actually a hidden, formidable strength built over time. A fed-up empath's emotional intelligence gives them an edge that most people, including narcissists, fail to appreciate. Emotional intelligence isn't just about feeling or sensing others' emotions. It's about interpreting those feelings, predicting behavior, and knowing how to respond in ways that influence outcomes. Over time, empaths develop a kind of internal radar for deception, manipulation, and subtle power plays. They can sense when someone is being dishonest, when intentions are hidden, and when a situation is about to spiral. Unlike narcissists who rely on charm, manipulation, and impulsive tactics to control others, a fed-up empath uses insight strategically. They understand the emotional levers at play and can anticipate the consequences of actions before they happen. This isn't about overreacting, it's about measured, informed responses that maximize impact while minimizing unnecessary conflict. Their empathy doesn't make them soft, it makes them observant, calculating, and incredibly difficult to manipulate once they reach their limit. While narcissists often think they are in control because they can provoke, intimidate, or gaslight, the fed-up empath sees through the theatrics and knows how to neutralize them. This intelligence allows them to protect themselves, expose deceit, and create outcomes that the narcissist never saw coming. In essence, the fed-up empath turns their deep understanding of human behavior into a strategic tool, making their responses far more dangerous and effective than the narcissist's impulsive and self-serving actions. The emotional advantage they carry is quiet but powerful, and when fully activated, it becomes a force that can dismantle manipulation with precision and authority. When a fed-up empath decides it's time to protect themselves, boundaries become their most powerful weapon. For years, empaths often tolerate behaviors that others would instantly reject. They give, forgive, and absorb because they feel deeply and genuinely care about others. But there comes a tipping point when enough is enough, and the empath recognizes that their kindness has been exploited. At that moment, boundaries shift from being flexible guidelines to unbreakable rules. These boundaries aren't just emotional, they are practical, strategic, and unwavering. Unlike narcissists, who see rules as suggestions to bend or break, a fed-up empath enforces their limits consistently and without hesitation. This enforcement can take many forms: cutting off contact, refusing to engage in manipulative games, exposing lies, or simply withdrawing energy from toxic dynamics. The power of these boundaries lies in their clarity and permanence. They communicate that the empath will no longer tolerate manipulation, control, or abuse. And here's the crucial point. Narcissists, accustomed to bending people to their will, often underestimate the empath's capacity to hold these boundaries. When a fed-up empath establishes these limits, it's not a bluff. It's a declaration of self-respect and strategic intent. The narcissist may attempt to push, test, or provoke, but the empath's reinforced boundaries act like an invisible shield, making it nearly impossible for them to regain control. In this way, the fed-up empath transforms vulnerability into strength, and their boundaries become a mechanism that can dismantle the narcissist's influence with remarkable precision and lasting impact. By the time an empath reaches the point of being fed up, they've spent years observing patterns, behaviors, and manipulations, not just superficially, but with a deep, intuitive understanding. They've seen the narcissist's tactics, the gaslighting, the charm, the false promises, the subtle emotional traps. And because empaths feel deeply, they also feel the underlying motives, the insecurity, the fear, the self-interest driving these actions. This long-term observation gives them predictive awareness. They can often anticipate the narcissist's next move before it even happens, seeing the strategy behind the chaos. This foresight is a game changer. While narcissists operate on impulsive manipulation, the fed-up empath operates on informed anticipation. They can prepare responses, set preemptive boundaries, and take actions that neutralize control. It's not reactive, it's proactive. They can foresee how lies will unfold, which manipulations will stick, and where vulnerabilities lie. The empath's predictive ability allows them to act with precision rather than emotion-driven reaction, making their responses far more impactful. A narcissist, confident in their ability to manipulate, often doesn't realize they are playing into the empath's awareness. This predictive insight doesn't come from aggression. It comes from experience, observation, and emotional acuity. It's a quiet, formidable form of power, and it's one reason why a fed-up empath can be more dangerous than a narcissist. They don't just respond, they anticipate, strategize, and act with insight that the narcissist never saw coming. What makes a fed-up empath truly formidable is the quiet, calculated power they wield. Unlike narcissists, whose actions are often impulsive, attention-seeking, or reactive, the empath operates with a kind of silent precision. They don't need to lash out or create chaos to make their point. Their power lies in restraint and strategic response. Years of observing manipulation and absorbing emotional energy give them the tools to act deliberately. When they decide it's time to respond, every action is measured, purposeful, and designed to create the maximum effect with minimal noise. This makes them unpredictable and, in many ways, more dangerous than the narcissist, who thrives on drama and immediate gratification. The fed-up empath understands the importance of timing, leverage, and consequence. They know when to confront, when to withdraw, and when to expose deceit in ways that cannot be ignored. Their strength isn't about aggression, it's about turning awareness into action and patience into power. Narcissists often underestimate this capability because they are used to reacting and assuming others will do the same. They fail to recognize that the empath's calm exterior masks a mind that has been quietly plotting a path to justice and self-preservation. This silent power can dismantle manipulation, reveal hidden truths, and create consequences that leave a lasting impact. demonstrating that subtlety, insight, and restraint often outweigh the loud, chaotic tactics of even the most confident narcissist. The fed-up empath doesn't need to rage. They act, and the results speak for themselves. When a fed-up empath reaches their breaking point, their emotional energy often transforms into action. Action that is not impulsive, but purposeful and transformative. For years, empaths absorb stress, manipulation, and emotional chaos from others, often at the expense of their own well-being. That stored emotional energy doesn't disappear. It accumulates like pressure building behind a dam. When the empath finally acts, that energy fuels decisive steps toward change, not just for themselves, but often for their environment. This is what makes them uniquely powerful. They turn frustration into constructive outcomes. Unlike narcissists, who act out of selfish desire or to provoke, the empath channels their emotional intensity into meaningful transformation. They may restructure their relationships, remove toxic influences, expose dishonesty, or pursue goals with renewed clarity. This action is both a defense mechanism and a catalyst for growth, demonstrating that their anger or frustration isn't destructive for the sake of destruction. It's strategic and purposeful. The empath's ability to convert emotional pain into actionable insight means they can reshape situations in ways that narcissists cannot anticipate. Their actions create consequences that resonate beyond the immediate moment, establishing patterns of accountability and change. In essence, a fed-up empath doesn't just react, they evolve, they recalibrate their world, and they use the energy of accumulated emotional experience to create shifts that are lasting, meaningful, and, when necessary, profoundly impactful. The power of their transformation is quiet, but it leaves an unmistakable mark. Fed-up empaths are guided by a strong moral compass, and this sense of ethical clarity amplifies their effectiveness when dealing with manipulative individuals. Unlike narcissists, who often act with self-interest and disregard for consequences, the empath operates from a place of principle. They have a deep understanding of right and wrong, fairness and deception, and they refuse to compromise their values, even when pushed to extremes. This moral clarity allows them to act decisively, exposing dishonesty or injustice without hesitation. When a narcissist attempts to twist reality, exploit others, or evade responsibility, the empath's ethical foundation becomes a stabilizing force. They can recognize manipulation not only for what it is, but for its potential harm, and they respond in ways that are proportionate, impactful, and just. Their actions are deliberate, informed by empathy, and aimed at restoring balance rather than seeking revenge. This makes them incredibly dangerous to narcissists because they are not easily swayed, intimidated, or manipulated. A fed-up empath uses moral authority as both a shield and a weapon. A shield against deceit and coercion, and a weapon in the sense that they can hold the narcissist accountable in ways that resonate and endure. Unlike impulsive or vindictive reactions, the empath's ethically grounded response carries weight, credibility, and lasting effect. The narcissist may try to undermine or belittle them, but the empath's clarity ensures that their actions are not only effective, but defensible, strategic, and impossible to ignore. This moral backbone transforms frustration into a force that commands respect and enforces accountability. The long-term impact of a fed-up empath is often underestimated, but it is one of their most formidable traits. While narcissists may burn bridges recklessly, leaving chaos in their wake, empaths approach their actions with awareness and strategy. When an empath reaches their limit, they don't just react. They create consequences that are lasting and meaningful. Their responses are designed not to punish impulsively, but to ensure accountability, protect themselves, and prevent future harm. Over time, these actions ripple through relationships, social circles, and even professional networks, creating effects that the narcissist never anticipated. The empath's influence is subtle at first, setting boundaries, withdrawing energy, exposing manipulations, but it compounds, shaping outcomes that are permanent and difficult to reverse. Unlike narcissists, whose power often diminishes as others disengage, the The fed-up empath's actions are calculated with foresight, ensuring that the impact endures long after the immediate confrontation. This long-term consequence is particularly threatening to narcissists who thrive on control and chaos. They are unprepared for someone who can act with both precision and persistence. The empath's ability to create enduring change stems from years of observing, absorbing, and learning from behavior patterns, allowing them to act in ways that leave a lasting mark. In essence, the fed-up empath turns accumulated experience, insight, and emotional depth into a force that not only neutralizes manipulation in the moment, but reshapes the environment, leaving a legacy of accountability and transformation that far outlasts the narcissist's temporary power. So, let's bring this all together. A fed-up empath is not just someone who feels too much. They are someone who has learned too much, seen too much, and endured too much to be taken lightly. They've quietly observed every manipulation, every lie, every attempt at control, and they've turned that awareness into strength, strategy, and unshakable boundaries. When they finally reach their limit, their response isn't chaotic. It's deliberate, informed, and impactful. They don't lash out for ego or revenge. They act with precision, using insight and moral clarity as their guide. Unlike narcissists, whose power is often loud but shallow, the empath's power is deep, quiet, and enduring. Every action they take leaves consequences that resonate, forcing accountability and reflection in ways the narcissist could never anticipate. And here's the truth. The most dangerous person in your life isn't the one who shouts the loudest or manipulates the most. It's the one who has learned the rules of the game, mastered patience, and knows exactly when and how to use their power. A fed-up empath doesn't just survive the narcissist, they rise above, turning emotional pain into transformation, frustration into clarity, and endurance into unstoppable strength. If you take anything away from this today, remember this. Never underestimate someone who has endured, observed, and finally decided enough is enough. When a fed-up empath acts, it changes the game entirely, and that kind of power is permanent.